and we're gonna go live. Yeah, we made 4 years, March 20th or something like that. We didn't even celebrate our anniversary.
Mm.
Hey, because we out here doing God's work. Keep talking.
Okay, we are live, Greg. It is on you.
Good morning. Welcome to today's community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and we are glad you are here. Today is the 11th of April 11, in the year 2024. And we were just talking about that, I guess not long ago, we clicked past our 4-year anniversary. So we've been bringing this to you for 4 years. I'm sure Crystal will dovetail on that communication in just a few moments. But sit back and relax. Our guest today is Dr. Mark E. Henderson. It's amazing how many guests we've had with the middle initials E. They get that E in there. We had Michael E. Washington. We had Stanley E. We got a lot of E's in there. So we'll find out what that E stands for in just a moment, and we'll hear from Dr. Mark Henderson. So without further delay, I'm going to bring to the virtual stage the queen of our community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
This is financial literacy month. You're the king and I'm the queen, right?
That's right. I'm the king of financial literacy. She's the queen of financial literacy, and right. we bring it to it. Crystal's bringing the message. I've been putting Facebook Live messages on this week, trying to fight against that algorithm. But we'll do the best we can. So,
welcome. I am Crystal Mitchell. The secret to I have found the secret to the algorithm is put as many positive messages as you possibly can, and then in between that, do a Yahoo, and then come back to your positive messages, and then you stay current. That's my strategy. Welcome, guys. I'm Crystal Mitchell. I am the co-director of Recycle Black Dollars, as well as I have my own coaching practice and a number of other podcasts. This one was inspired. The community briefing was inspired 4 years ago, as Greg said, for the benefit of making sure we knew where the dollars were during the pandemic. And so, but we also need to know what's going on in our communities, and we need to meet the people who are doing things out there on our behalf, our leaders and stakeholders. So that's the purpose of this platform. This is our networking platform. This is our weekly come here and find out what is going on. There's a conversation that is being had, and you're meeting the people that are sitting at the table on your behalf. And so, in the words of Shirley Chisholm, if you're not sitting at the table, there's no chair for you. Bring your fold-in chair. You do have to be at the table. So this, our guest today, Mr. Michael E. Henderson, he is at the table. So he's going to share with us what he has learned. And so please, guys, introduce yourself. We have a fabulous team here. You've already met Mr. Greg Sneed, myself, Mr. Stephen Turner. He is our producer. Thank you, Stephen, for bringing all these amazing people to this platform. And by our other co-host is Ms. Robin Bills. She's the other female energy. And right now, guys, I'm sorry, women got the power. And so we are, Ms. Robin is going to take it from there, and she's going to talk to you about why it's so important to vote. Ms. Robin.
Good day, everybody. Glad to be here. Robin Billups with the Billups Group. I assess, coach, and work with folks to get them to a strategic framework for the business plan that they've designed. I'm glad to be here as usual, and more importantly, voting is our power. Please empower yourselves. Please pay attention. Democracy is at stake, not Biden against Trump. You know, when you hear about what has just happened with an 1800 law that they've enacted to fight against abortion and people's choices, it tells you a lot about, where this country is going. So we have to pay attention. We have to have our voices heard. And your main currency is your ability to vote. Somebody sacrificed for us to be able to do that. So please take advantage of it. I'm looking forward to today's presentation. I'm going to kick it back over to Greg. And thanks everybody for dialing in.
All right. So, our guest today, Dr. Mark E. Henderson, and he has an extensive career, but he has entered the realm of the Gardena's civic affairs when he was elected to the city council in March of 2015, and then securing a second term in March of 2020. Before his council term, he's contributed significantly to the city's governance as Planning and Environmental Quality Commission member from 2010 to 2013. During his term as chairman in 2012, he actively engaged with community stakeholders, city council members, and municipal staff, clearly understanding the community's diverse need. Before assuming that role, Dr. Henderson was a dedicated member at large of the Gardena Rent Mediation Board, ensuring fair and constructive resolutions to landlord-tenant disputes. Landlord-tenant, they have disputes? Oh, no, never, right? His commitment to fostering harmonious community relations extended to his involvement in the Gardena Environmental Justice Committee, where he played a pivotal role in raising awareness about persistent environmental issues and crafting strategies for city officials and staff, fostering transparent dialogue before implementing environmental policies on land issues. So he's been with Los Angeles Community College District. He's a techie, right? He's got a lot of technical background. He's been with City Gardena, as I mentioned. For a moment there, he was mayor pro tem. He's got his own technology and management group. Has worked with the California Democratic Party, treasurer of the African American Caucus. Let's see, board president, experience, LA Pierce College. I could go on and on. California Democratic Party. We mentioned City of Gardena. JPL. Oh, JPL. Huh? Okay. City of Manhattan Beach. He has an MBA from University of Redlands. Got his doctorate work at University of Laverne. I have no idea where he grew up. I guess he grew up in California, but he'll share that with us. And he also happens to be a member of the greatest fraternity in the world, Alpha Phi Alpha. And in fact, my anniversary or my Alphaversary with Alpha is coming up in 2 days on the 13th. 48 years in this fraternity. Whew, that's amazing. So, without further delay, please welcome and bring to the virtual stage Dr. Mark E. Henderson.
Thank you very much, Greg Sneed. 06 to you. A happy Alphaversary. Mine will be coming up. It'll be 22 years in the illustrious fraternity as well, in a couple of days as well. So that's great. I want to say thank you to Community Briefing for this honor to participate in this dialogue and kind of share some things about myself as well as the city of Gardena. So born and raised here in LA County, lived here majority of my life until I joined the United States Navy and had a chance to kind of see the world, do some things, come back, went to school, went back out, moved up to Silicon Valley and lived there for a little while before I came back down to raise my family and really work on my family. So it's an honor to be part of the LA Basin and LA County. I'm currently part of Southern California area governments. I'm on the regional council, and that's 6 counties in the Southern California area. And we talk about various issues in relationship to transportation and housing. And I'm also on the mobile sources, basically part of AQMD in regards to doing things with air quality and as we move to an electric environment, what that means for different communities, especially communities that are underserved historically and underrepresented and different things like that. For those that don't know, that aren't aware, City of Gardena is about 6 square miles here in LA County. We're part of the South Bay, 16 cities of the South Bay. We're right in between the 110, the 105, the 405, and the 91. So our old school nickname is the Freeway City. It's been great being grown up here in South LA, South Bay. It's been wonderful. My desire to get involved in community engagement was just always felt that we could always just do more in our community. And so therefore I really jumped into the environmental justice and worried about blight in our community and really started working towards what can I do to start working to reduce the blight. And as everything goes, it's all about policy. And it's understanding policy. My background is technology and management and business. My dissertation was on change leadership and change management. So there's a lot of fundamentals there and what we need to do in our community. But I am a businessman, so I understand what that means. And as an African American, it's part of the process. You know, we want folks, as Robin said, to get involved with, to engage the process democratically. But we also need to understand that a lot of underserved communities need to engage the process commercially and financially, and that's only done through business opportunities and everything to help shape the world that we live in. So when I got on council, I just recently was reelected for my last term here. So I'll be going out in another 4 years. So that was some good work. I always thank my community for that. I always work in a collaborative manner with our community. I think either between my, at the end of my first term or somewhere in the middle of my second term, we started talking about contracting opportunities and different things, and how do we get more minority firms involved. So one of the things that we decided to do was to make sure when there's business opportunities and contract opportunities to advertise in periodicals that are circulated more in communities that have ethnic bases. So it didn't matter what community it was, but we wanted to advertise opportunities in a lot of these ethnic bases and partner with the Black Chamber, Los Angeles Business Federation, and different things like that to make sure that there are opportunities for folks to actually participate. When I speak to some entrepreneurs on different things and different items, I encourage them to kind of look at a lot of public sector agencies and everything. There's business opportunities all around in the public sector, but you kind of have to actively participate and partner with those that have those inroads, but you don't have to wait. When the city of Gardena has a contract, a street contract or something like that, we advertise in our local periodical as well as we put on planted bids. When I talk to a lot of entrepreneurial firms and different things, they weren't even aware of what planted bids is, or even a member of Planet Bips, because there's a subscription, there's a membership, and that's where a lot of agencies and entities actually post their business opportunities and RFP opportunities to participate. So one of the things I noticed, and I think we definitely should be partnering with the Black Chamber, is that how do we educate those and get those understand that you have to kind of scour these organizations and these agencies for these opportunities. As it was stated, I work for Los Angeles Community College District. I'm the district technology manager over the 9 colleges. And people are asking all the time, well, how do I get a contract? Or how did it? Well, contracts aren't just given out, as you all know, you all professionals, you know that, but there's some criterion in responding to contracts. And if you don't meet those criterion, then you won't be selected to even be a competitor in that process. So a lot of agencies like SCE, for instance, I've actually sat in where they've done some technical assistance to help guide a lot of these companies through some of their processes so they can get through these processes. But it kind of hurts my heart that I don't see a lot of firms or demographic groups that are unrepresented participating in these programs. So there's always, our counterparts are always there and everything, getting a leg up, but I don't see a lot of us there. So I'm not sure how we, or what we need to do to promote that awareness with a lot of small businesses. But again, it's just something we need to kind of continue to work at. Within LA County, there's opportunities all around. There's 88 cities in LA County. And in those 88 cities, there's transportation, there's public safety, there's admin services, there's technology. We have county services. We got all these things that all these communities need support, and they need businesses to support some of these projects and initiatives and everything that we're actually spending our tax dollars on. So why not be an active participant in that and securing a contract, working within your community, and then providing an opportunity to hire those within the community. There's a lot of development going on in LA County. We need to be a part of that process, working with labor to make sure that everyone is represented in a lot of these projects and possibilities and opportunities and everything, along with pushing education. Community college has the first 2 years free. I'm not sure how many folks are aware of that, and how the community is engaging that. So these are different things, again, as we start really collaborating and creating symbiotic relationships and furthering the community for everyone, then it gets stronger. That's just kind of where I want to go, but I'm open for questions because I can kind of talk all day. So I know, Robin, I think you're going to be moderating. So if you have any questions, I'm open for that.
Yeah, actually, tell us some of the key things. Robin will pop in a minute, but tell us some of the key issues that are really facing the city of Gardena. I mean, 88 cities in LA County, is quite a lot. Obviously, the city of Los Angeles is the largest, but I think LA County is 10.4 million people, so that is a lot. Also, speak to us about Gardena itself. I think my recollection is Gardena has a pretty unique sort of racial mixture. So many places have are a predominant ethnicity, if you will. But I recall just going and kind of dealing with Gardena. There's a fair sort of equitable distribution of ethnicities and also income levels. So it's quite a unique area. So tell us a bit about Gardena.
I can definitely. Thank you for that prompt. I can definitely share that. So Gardena is approximately 61,000 people. So again, we're 6 square miles. So if you do the simple math, there's 10,000 of us living within a square mile per se. Our racial makeup, we're an all-American city. So it's almost about a quarter of everybody, Asian, white, Latino, African-American. And it was known primarily, I think, as a kid growing up, kind of middle-class community and everything. And now we're transitioning as the climate changes, as the market changes, as socioeconomic items change, we're now starting to skew back towards a higher end community. So we're kind of in an identity crisis. This is me saying that in regards to where houses at one time were going for, the 2s to the 3s, maybe to the 4s. Now our housing starts are now 7s, 8s, 9s and everything. So the affordability of the community is changing. So that's a challenge for a community that's been historically a middle-class community. And so now what are we doing to really make sure people can work, live, and play in the community? So we try to make sure we're doing a lot of that. Our Gardena opportunities, for those that don't know, please come spend money. We have a lot of restaurants here in our community. So we're a foodie town. So no matter where you are from in the world, we got food for you from wherever you are in the world. So that's a great thing. And we pride ourselves on that. Historically, our roots come from card clubs. For those that have been around LA County for all these years, we had 6 card clubs way back in the day. Now we're down to 2. So now we kind of still have an entertainment district, but our city's changing. It's changing. The region's changing and everything. So we're still encouraging folks to homestead here. We're doing some development here. We're working on some affordable housing opportunities here. So it's a city that is on the rise. Again, we're trying to make sure that we are part of the fabric of the region versus being a part of the region, away from the region. So collectively, a lot of smaller cities, we can't compare with the larger Long Beach and city of LA, but as a small collective, because we're all suburb within LA County, the issues still traverse all jurisdictions: homelessness, socioeconomic issues, public safety issues, and all that. Those issues don't know city boundaries. So what our city tries to do is make sure we collaborate with all entities. So our city is unique because we're surrounded by the city of LA, LA County, and a couple other cities around us. So we have to make sure we engage with their leadership, with their community, because again, we want to be a resource to all and everything. So if you hit our shores, we try to service wherever we can or provide opportunity wherever we can and collaborate with the policymakers that are around us to make sure that there's some semblance of success for the community overall.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the restaurant part of it as well. Because, hey, Joseph, you used to live in Gardena or just outside Gardena, I think.
I did live in Gardena for
Yeah,
a few years. Yes.
And I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad you did, because you know, a lot of things that Gardena brings to the table, but there's whatever you want from a cuisine, it seems like Gardena's got it. Um, Talk to us about some of
And
the
Jazz Festival, which is happening on the 25th.
that part too. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. The Gardena Jazz Festival. Hmm. When is that? Is that coming up in this
It's in
month?
August. It's
Oh,
always the last Sunday in
that's
August.
what I thought. Yeah. She said the 25th. I said, wait, that's too early.
Yeah, it's last fun. So, and we're a festival city. We have approximately over 80 something events a year for a city our size. So our staff, they really work hard. All our staff, not just our Parks and Recreation and Human Services, but our public safety. We partner with LA County Fire, our public works, our community development, our admin services. We do a lot for our community as well as surrounding communities, with from Gardena Jazz, our Heritage Festival, Cigar and Wine, our other food festivals. Uh, we have a lot of events for our seniors as well as the youth and everything, and those that have mental health challenges. We work on that. We have our own mental health evaluation team in our community. So for smaller cities, a lot of these services are hard to sustain. So we try to make sure, you know, our grant funding is up to par. Our planning for a lot of these initiatives is up to par. And even when the policymakers don't always agree, we believe that we should always be hard on the issues and not on each other. Most of us are from Gardena, so it's all really inherent, but we're not so insular that we're toxic and dysfunctional, or we try not to be. We want to make sure, again, we become a best practice city. We're always looking for new learning, new opportunities, engaging new things to make our city as best that it can be. Like I said, we want to be the best of 88. That's kind of one of my goals again, and the 88 being all the cities in LA County, like all cities strive to be.
Like keys on the piano, right?
Absolutely.
So, share with us a little bit about your corporate background. You had a strong field in technology. You know, many of our elected officials, some of them work full time, some are part time, some still have full time job, and you know they're doing working on the council. You know, evenings and weekends, and you know, 28 hours a day. But you had a strong background in technology. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity in technology for our youth. So just speak a little bit about, you know, how that transitions, how that prepares you. I think dealing with technology also gives you a very structured environment, and that can translate into how you're able to work things within the governance.
Thank you very much for that prompt as well. So my background is a technologist. I started a computer programming class about 11th grade. I'm a graduate of Narbonne High School, class of 86. I'm an LA USD kid and everything. So my introduction to math and science started in high school, probably even before then, kind of as a kid, you know, growing up in the neighborhood, just kind of curious about how things work and different things like that. But understanding business is really what drives a lot of things. So as I started growing as a professional and different things like that, it's technology is great, but the business of technology is really how you kind of make it move. Um, my professional background, besides having my own business, I started with my own computer building firm and everything, and I became a network engineer and kind of worked in that. And when I became an intern for Lawa Telecommunications Department, you know, it really kind of spurred me on to kind of really move forward into the field of technology. I finished my undergraduate after I got out of the Navy, and I got a job at JPL. And that was really just outstanding to be working at Jet Propulsion Laboratories, driving up to 110 every day was a great opportunity while I was there. Because again, my village is like you never stop. You got to keep learning. You got to keep going. Getting a master's degree, and I specifically chose to get an MBA versus an MS in IT because I wanted to be a little bit more well-rounded in what I do. So I have my personalities, I'm pretty personable and everything, but what I notice in the tech field, techies sometimes have difficulty kind of conversing with those that are non-technical. That is a skill that I actually have. So I married those two, And then as I got into IT management and leadership, I started really furthering my development in that space. And as I start to further that development in that space and start to mentor the youth and everything, especially in our community, it's about the leadership. It's about having the courage to kind of move forward and be kind of different than what you need to be. But it's important to have mentors around you and folks in the village that can kind of encourage you. I think that confidence comes from coming from a village that gave me all the proper discipline, all the proper food, and all the proper everything that I needed, that shade of critique that I need to have to make sure I'm humble. So as a mentor myself, I want to make sure I provide that, but always have care and love and empathy for the people because everybody's existence is different. Technology is something I think that becomes the great equalizer for businesses of all sizes. So we have businesses that are large entities, but then you got the small, medium businesses. But technology has allowed everybody to really compete on an equal playing field. And now with AI, you can actually increase the efficiency of your organization because a lot of rudimentary tasks and things you no longer have to do because you can rely on the AI. So it's not necessarily replacing anybody, but it's making those that know how to use the tool more proficient. So I tell everybody, it's great to know how to operate a screwdriver, but once I give you a drill, you should be able to do more things a lot faster. And that's what this tool is. And so my goal now is to make sure we get folks to truly embrace what this means in the public sector instance. So I've been really trying to lead that charge for our city, for our community to embrace that tool so our employees can now have more time to spend with our community members that need support and service. Because a lot of the issues are kind of complex and multi-layered, and it takes some analysis and time. So the things that are kind of routine and everything, artificial intelligence and everything can kind of take care of that. So we can really deal with some of the real issues of our community to improve our community.
Mark, that was an excellent, excellent, excellent way to help folks illuminate the benefits of technology. And I think that people tend to see it so onerous, but they're using their smartphone every day.
Yes.
You know, they don't even see the fact that you're using an iPad, you're using a smartphone, you're using an ATM machine. Everything that you're touching is technology. So that was an excellent way to present that. And the idea of efficiency. You know, we have to move towards efficiency in order to stay relevant and to stay on top of things. One of the things that you mentioned was the whole procurement process. You know, one of the reasons why we have the community briefing is to bring resources, information, and processes to the table to illuminate, to get rid of the scary part, right? And so talk a little bit about, you know, what I love what you just said, that you're working with the public sector to bring their technology up to speed. People don't get it that once Congress or whoever approves a bill, it may be weeks on end before you actually get the policy and procedure to go with that. It may be weeks on end before the platform is set up to receive that. So talk a little bit about the technology in the public sector space, because historically what I've said to my clients, when you say you want to do business with the government, be careful, because their technology is based on the 1980s platform. So, you know, they're slow and go, but they're going, but it's going slow. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit about that. And you're absolutely right, Robin. We're in this shift now. When COVID happened to us, and God bless the souls, the million souls that passed on through COVID and everything, because public sector has always moved slow, and I'm really impatient person, but I can kind of really understand why things move slow. Again, I'm now going into my final term, and the things that I said I wanted to do when I first got elected are now coming to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Because the public sector process, where folks kind of don't understand, it's a little different. When we're doing something, we have to really be strategic in what we're doing, because the thing that we're doing with our tax dollars, it has to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be a trial and error, because our margins are so narrow and our funding is so finite that the projects that a firm has to, or a municipality or a public sector entity has to embark upon, has to work. So when we partner with somebody, they have to meet all the insurance requirements. We have to do all these things because there can't be a lot of project overrun. Because the funding is not there. If we got $2 million for the thing, then we got $2 million for the thing. And so we have to be real strategic in making sure that there's no plethora of change orders or different things like that. And so to get the private sector to understand that, it's kind of hard because now we have to make sure that we indemnify ourselves, and your firm is indemnified. We have to make sure if the process needs to go through the courts that we're covered, because again, we all live in a city. You want to make sure your city's able to still pick up your trash, keep your parks clean, keep the lights on and everything. And if we're squandering your dollars on project after project after project, then we're losing money for other things in that community. So there's an impact. Now, when COVID came along, because we all couldn't physically be in these spaces, it then brought up the opportunity to now do things more remotely with technology. So for instance, in our city clerk's office, we used to print out our council packet in a binder that was this big. And if they made a mistake, they'd have to go print it all over again, times 5 each time. Well, now that we have our agendas and everything online, if there's a mistake, you can make the mistake and then you just look at it through your portal and everything and you review that. Now, some people still like the paper, but it's really made us more efficient. I tell people I've bought property online and everything but I bought a house with stack of paper, sign everything and all that. So it's those efficiencies. So in the procurement process, as a public sector agency, it helps speed it up. We still, when we have a bidders conference or something like that, we still want the firms to come because we still need to look you in the eye and everything. But a lot of the process can be online as far as making sure that you qualify to participate in the project. Do you have all your insurance? What's your diversity, equity, inclusion statement? Are you working with diverse partners? A lot of those things you can fill out online and produce online. So when the evaluation is occurring, along with other technical specs and financial specs and everything, it actually expedites and speeds up the process versus everybody kind of reading through all this paper and everything and kind of losing yourself and falling asleep. You kind of do it online and you can actually correspond quicker. Hey, we need your insurance policy for this. Shoot them an email, they send it back. So all these things are helpful in the procurement process. What a lot of agencies are doing now is, again, when there's and I hate to say newspaper print is going away because I love the Sentinel, I love the Wave, I love our Gardena Valley News, but it's just easier to post an RFP or a project to multiple electronic outlets. And it's more cost effective and you get more eyes on it. So we want companies to really start embracing that. You still want to support your local periodicals, but depending upon what their readership is, their viewership, you want to get as many eyes on your project as possible to get more diverse candidates and most diverse competitors, because as a taxpayer, you want us to spend as less as possible to get the thing done and everything. So if there's an opportunity and only 3 companies bid, that's a problem. But if there's an opportunity and 12 companies bid, then folks are going to be real competitive. And then as that policymaker and as that reviewer, we can now get the most competitive bang for our buck and ROI. Not necessarily the lowest bid,
Right.
but the most competitive and what opportunity gives us the greatest rate of return as a municipality, because the things that we're doing are going to be for community benefit.
Robin, I have a quick question for you,
Sure.
Dr. Henderson. Tell us about how the opportunity to do business with the city of Gardena is. What's the digital platform? I mean, I know there's Ramp for the city of Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys participate in that.
We participate, and thank you for that question. We post a lot of our stuff in Planet Bids and or on our website.
So directly to the City of Gardena website.
City of Gardena website. So you go under business opportunities. And if you look at most water districts, school districts, municipalities, any public sector entity that you can think of, they'll either post business opportunities on their site specifically or in some other electronic form. Planet Bids, City of LA is Ramp. I forget a couple other, I'm gonna say it's like a .gov. I can't remember what the .gov. So there's all these
Sam.gov.
Sam.gov. So there's all these electronic tools that allow firms to scour a bunch of opportunities at once. But I still want you to go by the Sentinel. I still want you to go by and get the Wave and everything, because we got to keep everybody
informed
and working and everything. But again, it's about creating efficiency. From a policymaker standpoint, the amount that we spend to be participants in Planet Bids and some of these other things, it's helpful for us because we now can say, when the public asks, well, where are you advertising this? Well, we're advertising this, so it's international or it's regional or it's statewide or it's Southwest region. So we can say we are trying to do our best to be good stewards of your money and get the most competitors to actually compete in some of these projects that we have going on in the city. Because again, it's your money, so we should be spending it wisely.
Mark, you know, your transparency, what I hear, and I'm sure our audience hears, we hear your years of experience on the corporate side, and you brought that acumen to your public space. And so we appreciate that. We really, really appreciate that. Two things that are critical to the community briefing, though, is one, who's on your bench that you're grooming to move into the city of Gardena as far as a public servant, and two, what after you wrap up in 4 years, what you gonna be doing, dude?
So it's important, as everybody, as we watch the NCAAs, it's important to have a good bench so we all understand that. So I'm grooming a couple of folks and everything, but being a policymaker in government, you got to kind of understand what it is. You're not going to get enriched in the process. And if you think that's what it is, then this is probably not for you. Greg asked the question earlier in regards to, we have a part-time council. So we meet every other Tuesday, but we're on a bunch of other committees, but most of us have full-time jobs. So I spend in my day job as the district IT manager for LACCD, that's probably about 45 hours a week. As a council person, I spend probably about another 30, but I make it work because it's important. The public sector work, I think, and if you want to be a policymaker, you got to start with having love for your community, your people. And when I say your people, I'm not specific to a demographic, just the people in your community. You got to have love for the people, but you got to have a desire that you understand that it's some work involved if you're truly trying to do it. Again, you're not going to get rich by being on the council or on some public sector entity. That's not what this is. Our stipend is like $500 a month or something like that. And that just covers gas to go from thing to thing to thing. But it's about the reward of seeing positive change in your community that works for me. So that's why you ask what's happening next. Because now that I'm a grandparent, I'm really embracing and loving that role and just kind of getting some time to kind of shut down. We're empty nesters. So it's a great opportunity, but I don't know, because sometimes having conversations with 4 of the people is challenging. I can't imagine what my colleagues do when they go to Sacramento and have to have more spirited conversations with a room full of people and everything. And I'm just really akin and just have a high propensity to kind of do the local work because I'm an impatient person. So I like to see my stuff come to life. And you can do it at the local level. And what I love about living in a small communities, you essentially could live next door to your elected official. You'll see them at the cleaners. You'll see me at the grocery store. You'll see me at one of our million eateries we have in the community. And you can talk and you can share the great things we're doing or the horrible things we're doing and everything. And we get instant feedback, and because feedback is a gift and depends on what your your spirit is, what your attitude is towards that feedback, you then can now retool and pivot to something else. So I tell everybody though, when you give me feedback, I need the good feedback along with the bad feedback, because everything we're doing can't be all bad. It's got to be some good stuff. If you look at our financial situation as a community, we've been in the black for quite some time now. So our community is real solid financially. We're looking good on the books. We're trying to figure out what we can do for more economic development and everything. So this is a city where years ago we had some financial difficulty and everything, but now we've kind of moved past that. And so the sun is always shining here. We want to make sure it stays shining here. So we encourage people to kind of give Gardena a look and see what's what. But honestly, Robin, I can say I try to eat what's on my plate, so I don't know what's happening next. I haven't gotten that word from anybody. When I say the word, I'm talking about higher power as far as
Yes.
what I need to be doing next, because I still got work I need to do here.
Yeah.
So
Well, you know,
I'm in no rush to kind of make any moves at this point in time.
well, you know, suffice it to say that you're part of the community briefing family. And however we can help support the city of Gardena and the work that you're doing, we don't want this to be your last time showing up. As things are coming up, especially like the Jazz Festival and what have you, health fairs and business opportunities, we want to hear from you. We appreciate the fact that you've given us a broad brush of what happens in a public sector environment. But what I like is that you gave it to us in bites that we could swallow, right? Because a lot of times political folks can be very political and not community. The spirit that I receive from you is this community piece. And part of it has to do with the fact that too, you grew up there. You know, this is it's known territory for you.
Right.
And so again, don't, as a question that Stephen put it in the box, how can the Black community support what you're trying to get done? And more importantly, how can we as community briefing also help you support what you're kind of trying to get done?
Oh, thank you for that. And I apologize because I hadn't been looking at the chat, so I didn't want to
Don't worry
distract
about it.
myself
We got you.
and everything. But what I want to say as far as support in me, it's not necessarily me, but I really, as you stated, Robin, before, that we really need to be active and engaged in the process, the political process, the social economic process, the diversity, equity, and inclusion process. Make sure there's equal rights for women. These are all the things that I think, our day to day, we kind of get consumed by it, but we kind of got to get outside of those things and engage those processes and lean into them and understand you don't have to know everything about politics, but how often do you watch your local council or your school board just to hear what's being said? And being naturally curious in these things to, well, what can I do to make sure that I'm doing my part? So you get that great contract with the city of Gardena and everything and all that. Who are you hiring? Are you hiring local? What are you doing? So these are the things that I think that helps us all as a collective. And now to help Mark Henderson directly, you go to markhenderson.org, and that's kind of my non-city stuff, and you can kind of see what I'm about and what I'm doing and everything. But I just want to encourage all folks on the call, all folks that are watching on Facebook Live, to actively engage in your community. Actively engage in your community. If you're an entrepreneur, make sure that you're tight. You got all your insurance requirements. You got all these things that you need to be a true entrepreneur, because I've run into a lot of folks that I'm an entrepreneur. Well, let me see your business plan. Well, I kind of got it. So you're really not. So you want to do something, but you're really not there. So understand that just because you say it doesn't make it so. And that's something my grandmother used to say to me a long time ago. And it makes sense. But us as now elders in the village, when we see these young folks that have this desire and everything, I think we have an obligation with love to give them that critique, to say, okay, I get what your idea is, but let me probe you on some of the things and everything. So you can have a better presentation when you go out to do this thing to represent your company, yourself, your community, your family.
Well, you
And we
know,
kind of have to do more of that.
and to your point, it's just be prepared. Now, what I like that you said that I think people aren't taking advantage of, because of COVID and everything moving to an electronic platform, now you can listen to and participate in the city council meeting without leaving your living room, right?
Right.
You know, Stephen has a question.
Yes, Stephen, yes.
Well, mine is more of, I want to thank you for coming on the show and given the wisdom that you shared with us and the caliber of who you are. If you have to make one recommendation of who should be on the show in the future, who would that be? And will you be able to help us get them on the show?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of folks we want to reach out to. I know I got a good colleague, and I actually see her on the call, Katrina Manning in the city next door, who's really active in the community as well. If you haven't already talked to LA Black Chamber, LA Hispanic Chamber, LA BizFed, because it's important, I think, to align yourself with these agencies and these groups because they're there for everybody's support. The chambers of commerce, folks that are representing things, folks from specific fields as far as biomedicine, healthcare, technology. And I can help get some of these folks. And again, policymakers. See if you can get some folks from the big city of Los Angeles, or the second largest city in our county, Long Beach, to participate and give opportunities on or share their experiences on how can we be active participants. And I guarantee you most of the policymakers are going to say engage, engage, engage. We got our results in our election, and Gardena's 61,000 people, 35,000 or so registered voters, but we had a 26% turnout.
Well, that's something that's something you and I will work on then, Mark.
Yeah.
So also thank Kevin Harbor for making the introduction.
I was about to say LA BizFed. Who can we find for LA
Exactly.
BizFed?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I just now see him on there. Yeah.
I don't know. There's somebody we could probably find.
Right. And the other thing is get folks to understand the importance of opportunities like this. So let's just say I decide to want to do something different and you see my name again, you're like, oh, I remember, dude. You know, there's so stuff like that. So it's not about trying to enrich myself, but again, just take these opportunities and share, because that's what we got into these roles for.
Well, Mark, and to your point, that was the whole premise for the community briefing. You know, we all agreed that this is not a commercial break. This is not a sales pitch. This is really a pathway and a process, right? What do you do? How did you get there? What's going on in the marketplace now? What do you see down the road? You know, we literally are pushing folks to join the community briefing, to be on the briefing, share their knowledge, so that folks can say we are a resource. And that's why it was set up in the first place, to be that resource. So
absolutely. You guys are celebrating 4 years now, huh?
Yeah. So you just honored us by, you know, literally filling in all of the little checkbox that we have for the guests that we have on here, and we want to thank you for that. With Sister Katrina, you coming up next. We need that resume, and that since Stephen, your resume and your bio, you've been called out, and Kevin, you've been called out. So, you know, don't be acting shy when we reach out to you.
Kevin's been on before, so
yeah,
Kevin's been on.
at least
Kevin
twice.
Always got something new coming up. So
at least twice.
Yeah. So
yeah.
and again, the whole mission is, as things unfold, you talk about something and then things start to unfold for that. We want you to come back. We want you to come back, share that information, and again, introduce people to the platform, because if we can grow this community that we've been working on for the last 4 years, the benefit to the whole will be tremendous. And again, to your point, Crystal, Stephen, and Greg and I are alliance people. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do. We create these alliances, and then we have we call them our associates and our usuals. You know, Joseph Duncan, Renee, Bianca. There are people that are here every week with us, every week with us. And so again, the mission is the more we know, the more we grow.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also, something you said, Mark, that was very important. Yesterday I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she's not in the business. She works in corporate America. So she's not like we all out. We're attending events all over the place, right? So we get bits of information. So she was like outraged that DEI was gone. I was like, girl, that's kind of like old news. And
Big
that's
time.
the point, because we hear it and we're in the midst of it. And she was also very upset with the MBDA issue that came up with she didn't know any of this because she's working in corporate America. So that's one of the reasons for this platform is our regular everyday Black folks that go to work every day. They not us. They not sitting at the table or no people that's sitting at the table. So by the time they get outraged, oh yeah, we heard that 2 months ago. But we need you guys to be engaged like right now. And so that's the purpose of the community briefing, is becoming that pipeline, making sure that information is disseminated out there. But more than that, they may be able to see you in Gardena at the Jazz Fest and go, wait, I saw him on the community briefing. Let me go up and say hello to him.
Absolutely. And I'll speak. Absolutely. I'm that guy. I speak to everybody. So yeah.
So that's what is important. So it's not us. We the choir. We need to get to the congregation.
We got to get to the congregation.
Well, to Crystal's point, and I have deference there because I spent almost 40 years in corporate, right? But I'm not spending that time in corporate not saying anything, right? The whole mission of the Lord allowed me to be at that table was to be able to be that voice for the folks who sitting in the room saying, you gonna say that? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I might get in trouble, but I'm gonna say it. Because the truth is a light, it'll set you free. Joseph.
Mark may not remember this, but I met him at one of his very first campaign events, the first time he ran for city council. And I've been kind of, even though I don't live in Gardena anymore, kind of following his career ever since. So it's good to see you again. And I was very pleased to know that you were going to be joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you for that, Joseph.
Yeah,
we see you, brother. We see you.
Yeah, and it's the first time I'm meeting you, so nice to meet you. And I hope you do come back and refer and
absolutely
and pass us around. This platform is going to be up on YouTube, and pass us around. And once it goes up, Stephen will get this to you because it's so important as people, Black people, that we know what's going on. There's a lot of things happening right now, and we're always somewhere in the forefront of that. It may not sound like that on the surface, but deep down is us. So we need to know how to prepare and to strategize for our communities to make sure we're safe. And most importantly, my passion is for our youth, making sure our youth have the same opportunities that we have. So thank you so much for joining us. If you guys will notice, I put a number of flyers. Our community is so busy right now, but there's a number of events out there that you guys can participate. Kevin has one coming up on May 2nd about housing. I plan on being there, which is very interesting. There's one there, Mark, you talked about this in the beginning. There's one that's coming up on the, I think it's the 17th or the 19th of this month. It's about from the Hispanic Coalition of Small Business. As Frank Montez, who's the chairman of that organization, indicates, they're unpeeling the onion on the spheres of sustainability and what that looks like. They're going to be in Pomona, and they really want to have a conversation if we're going to transform from gas automobiles to electric automobiles. What does that really look like, and what does that mean to a community? And so, Mark, it sounds like that's in your wheelhouse as well. So you might want to reach out, or you might want to participate there, or get some because we had on the Business Zone last week, we had a very interesting conversation. He was bringing up questions that we never had thought about. The number of the stations. Will our communities be involved when they have to put up these EV stations? All the things that's going to have to change, structural. Will our people be able to get those procurement opportunities? So some great conversations that's going to be had there. It is 11:56, I want to blessings and condolences to Reverend Cecil Chip Murray. We lost him this week. O.J. Simpson, I heard this morning. Is this do we know when the service is going to be?
Not yet. They were still working on that, but this is yeah, I'm still a member of First AME Church and on the board, and Chip Murray meant a lot to many of us. Also, one of my fraternity brothers, and helped me bring me closer to Christ. We had a men's organization. It was Richard Allen Men's Organization. In fact, Joseph was a member of our men's organization back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
When both of you guys had hair?
Yeah, when I had hair and mustache. Yep, exactly. So a little bit of fro. But it was, it brought a lot of the community together. He will be missed. He lived to the age of 94. And his legacy, even before what happened with the Rodney King and the riots, was legendary. And then that just brought the church into prominence. His services will be are pending in terms of the date. It will be huge. It'll be televised. It'll be, it'll be a bit crazy, but we miss him. In his latter years, he's had some health challenges from, he's starting to lose memory. But other than that, physically, he was pretty healthy. He did pass in his sleep. And so we give our condolences to Reverend Dr. Cecil L. Chip Murray.
Yeah,
Stephen, who's next week?
Met Greg, and that's how I met Joseph Duncan at Bible study. I was a member of Fame at age of 16, and I think I left somewhere. I moved on to Brooklyn somewhere in my 50s, I guess. Great. That's Reverend Murray was actually my example of what a pastor's supposed to be. And so it's kind of hard for me because too many people can't fit in his shoes. But yeah, we're going to miss him. I also
heard his... Joseph, can you best give us your quick summary of your impact Cecil Murray had on you?
Well, you have to go back to when I was 4 years old, 5, perhaps. Cecil Murray wasn't just a pastor, he was a good friend of my parents. At one of his very first churches after he finished seminary, he was their pastor, and my father was on his trustee board, one of his first trustee boards. So he had been part of my life for my entire life, not only as pastor of a huge church that I was a member of, but as a family friend. He married me once, he baptized my child. I can't begin to tell you the amount of impact that he had on my life. I too was on the trustee board. I was president of one of the choirs for a while. I got to know him intimately through working with him on various initiatives behind the scenes. And let me tell you, Greg knows, he's a little different behind the scenes than what we saw public. Yeah. We got to see the real man sometimes. And it wasn't always good. If you weren't exactly on point, if you didn't have your stuff together, if you showed up for a meeting unprepared, it was nothing nice.
Yeah.
But I agree with Crystal. He was a shining example of what a leader should be. And a lot of who I am and what I do is based on my life of experience with Cecil Murray.
I would say the same thing. When I was a Girl Scout leader at Fame, he would come out whenever we go on a field trip, he'd come out and greet the kids by name. And then he would pray for us. We could be leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we came back at 7 o'clock at night. He was meeting the bus there again to greet the kids and to ask. So he was amazing. He was definitely amazing. So
my biggest thing was to be able to be called daughter by him.
Yes.
Right? When I went into his office and he says daughter, and I was like, I done made it. I done made it till I get to heaven. I got mine right here.
And you can walk into his office. At one point, you can
Yeah.
walk into his office anytime you wanted. Before they put the gatekeepers there,
Yeah.
you could just walk up, say, I need to talk to him. He's like, come on in, daughter. We can talk.
Yeah.
I sit down.
Yeah.
Pre-92, yes.
Yeah, pre-92.
Well,
So again,
well,
Mr. Mark Henderson, Dr. Henderson, we're going to get real formal here. We just, again, we want to thank you for being you've been baptized in the family now. So don't be acting like you don't know us
All
when we
right.
see you in the street.
All
Over
right.
and above the fact that we will depend on you to come back, and especially around the whole procurement process. To your point, opportunity abounds in Los Angeles County right now. It truly does, because of the Biden administration and its budgetary awards. And we need to pay attention to the money that's coming into our LA County marketplace. And so again, your thought leadership around that sector is critical. And then the whole idea of these EV charging stations and all of this, what I call next generation utility, you have that technology background, and that's going to be quite helpful. So thank you again for being here. And Stephen, who do we have next week?
next week we have Dr. Yvette Butler Yoba. Not only she's an MD, and we'll talk about Health Awareness Month. Also, she has built 3 schools in Ghana, and she's part of the diaspora going to Africa. So she's going to talk about health as well as the African continent. So that's Yvette Butler Yuba.
Awesome.
Can I leave one note for the youth that may be watching?
Yes.
And everything. And one of the things one of my keys to success, and I'm putting success in quotes, is being really adaptable and flexible. I think our youth need to understand that you got to be adaptable and flexible. And I just want to leave everybody with this note. Again, the ancestors, when they hit the ancestral realm, all the things that they were trying to tell you when they were here, you didn't understand until they're gone. And here's another one that I get from my ancestors, is that yesterday ain't today, and today damn sure ain't gonna be tomorrow. So you need to kind of understand what you need to do in those times.
Excellent.
And conduct yourself
accordingly. Exactly.
and everything. And sometimes I think we lose that because we get caught up in what we're doing and everything. So that just kind of hit me as I was sitting here with my ancestors looking down on me. Like, hey, make sure you tell the people this. So that's all I got.
All right, Mark. And I actually have a biz camp that is in El Segundo that is starting in June. There's 2 sessions, and I'll have 65 kids there if you want to come talk to them.
Yeah, just give me the dates and I'll see what's working on the calendar.
Okay, so we would love to have you come talk to the kids. We're teaching them how to become entrepreneurs as a camp. And so they need to know all aspects and meet their professionals in the community. I've been doing that with the Los Angeles Urban League for it's been a program for 17 years. So we are in active recruitment right now, you guys. So if you got any children, nieces, nephews, the neighbor down the street, the little boy that just can't seem to stay out of trouble, the little girl that can't seem to stay out of trouble, send them on over, send this flyer to their parents, and let's get them signed up. And then we get them something active to do, and they'll stay out of trouble. All right, guys. It is 12:05. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We so appreciate your attendance. And please come on back, y'all.
All right. See you later. Thank you all.
All right. Take care now.
All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right. And there's tons of flyers. You guys have to actually download them if you want them. And then we will see. So I'm going to